So, hi Andy. Great
Good to see you, Nathan.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So we're here today, and we're going to talk about what does it mean to be a superhero. So, in the next 5 minutes,
Yep.
what would you like to understand differently, or what would you like to be different about that? What does it mean to be a superhero?
I think for me, the biggest thing is breaking down that barrier of entry. So when we think in the film kind of world of superheroes, and that's where most of us have got the experience, probably through the things we saw growing up as well, kids' TV and stuff. But I think it's breaking down that wall that there's only the few gifted people that have got this amazing ability to do something. I just think that's just not true. I think everybody's got amazing ability to do things. They're just different. They're not all going to be in exactly the same space, and it's not going to be all about muscles and power necessarily in the sense that it's been told to us through movies and stuff in the past.
It's quite interesting, that, isn't it? Because you kind of get this sense of what superheroes supposed to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see many super people doing amazing things that surprise me.
Yeah. And I think, like I say, it's that realization that what does super mean? Super can be anything, really, to be honest, and anything that's you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, trying something new. That's super. You know, you're using your powers to do that. You're not. No one's. It's not magic or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's just a case of re sort of categorizing it a bit, I suppose, and just acknowledging that it is there and it is accessible to everybody. And there's a whole host of ways that you can kind of tap into it. I mean, for me, one of the things that is really fascinating within the narrative of when we think about superheroes generally is the enclothed cognition piece, because that's something that's dear to my heart. And this idea that when you change clothes, you're suddenly a different person is amazing. You know,
I'm thinking Superman here. I'm thinking phone box.
Yeah, but it goes back. I also think to Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben, superhero, love it.
Mr. Ben was definitely a superhero. You know, he went in and changed his clothes and had adventures, doing everything from being an astronaut to being in the Wild West and all sorts of things. It was all about what he was wearing, and you know that rings true, I think. Anyway,
I get where you're coming from there, Andy, because that really rings a few chords to me. Because that whole thing about not just thinking stuff, but being stuff, and having the right outfit on to do what you need to do. But within that, I would also challenge that we need to think about what those outfits are, because the outfits that maybe we've been told are right aren't always the right ones. And an example of that I would be, you know, in terms of when you're doing, say, for example, stretching or mobility stuff, you don't have to change into your Lycra to do that. You can actually do that in what you're wearing, and that can be okay. But there's other times when actually you need to wear clothing that's appropriate to what you want to achieve. Completely
agree. You know, and you wouldn't go to bed, for example, in your Lycra. You know, if you want to get a good night's sleep, you're gonna wear stuff that's appropriate and comfy for you to get a good night's sleep. You know, I think that's, for me, it's the kind of two sit hand in hand, I suppose. It's about expanding your thought processes to not be self-limiting, but then thinking about what is it that you're doing in the day, the clothes, dare I use the word uniform that you're wearing, because these things are all uniforms to a certain degree, whether we like that term or not. And you know, the impact of that, when those two things are thought about and used together, that's really powerful. That is genuine superhero, superpower sort of space, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Yeah, no, I get that. I really get that. And it'd be really interesting if you're listening to this to find out what you think about that as we come into land here. We've got about 30 seconds to go. Have you got any closing thoughts on this one, Andy?
Again, I think, as you've just said, it'd be great to hear what other people think, how that impacts them, and you know, also share perhaps some of the potential barriers that they might sort of see to expressing some of these things. It tends to be that they're self-created, but you know, not always. Yeah, just interested to see what people's thoughts are about the barriers to entry, and how much that is actually real and how much of it is within their kind of personal control.